This was just a hurricane that came into the boxing world.
That Usyk guy is talented. He's so small for a heavyweight too. He's non-stop movement and his footwork and everything. It's so different than anybody else.
He is the pride of Ukrainian nation.
He can say a lot by not saying anything. Just his facial expressions, his body movements. There's almost like a mystery about him.
Language has no barrier for magic and entertainment. He doesn't have to talk. He can pull faces. He can do tricks. He's a genius. A crazy Ukrainian genius.
I was born in Simferopol. I lived there until I was 6. Then we moved to Chervihiv, which is where my mother is from. My relatives had stables and I would help out there. It was a village with a farm. It had cows and horses, dogs, lakes, pigs and geese. When I was in year 2 at school, I got really ill. I had serious pneumonia. It was very bad. I'd spend 2 months in the hospital, then 2 weeks at home, or a month in the hospital, then go home for a week. The doctor even said that I could have died. But then a priest came to our hospital. My family wasn't particularly religious. They didn't really go to church. He suggested that I pray. He said only God was to decide how long I was supposed to live. So from then on, my grandma always took me to church. I found it interesting. I liked watching the service. I would study the place carefully. I could pray alone. We moved frequently, so I had to change schools a lot. It wasn't easy for me. My surname is Usyk, which means whisker. I also have a gap between my teeth. So a lot of the other kids often bullied me. Then we moved to my mother's homeland. I remember being in the fields as a child. It was very difficult for me. Sometimes I would cry, but they were not tears of despair. They were tears of will to escape that world. My father, he told me I could do it. I didn't know how far I could go, but I knew I just had to work.
Is your father your hero?
Yes. He was the one who always motivated me. A military man, he pushed me to train and study. Everything I have today is because of him. He instilled in me the most important priorities: family, sports, and education. He even taught me how to fight with a knife.
Usyk started boxing at 15, mainly because his family couldn't afford any other sport. On his first day, he got punched in the face hard and almost got knocked out. At the end of the session, his coach told him, "I have a feeling you won't be coming back here again." The next day, Usyk showed up before the gym even opened. 10 years later, he made it to the 2012 Olympics. His performances were near perfect. In the gold medal match, he defeated Clemente Russo.
As soon as he was announced the winner in the fight, he performed national Ukrainian dance, Gopak. His haircut was also Ukrainian traditional long hair of Cossack style. So he attracted so much attention from the public. So people started to recognize him.
After his victory, his dad gave him a call. That moment marked a turning point in his life.
He was already ill when I went to the Olympics in London. He managed to watch me become an Olympic champion. When I won the finals and returned to my hotel room, he called me. We talked on the phone for about an hour. We had never spent an hour on the phone together before. It felt as if he was saying his farewell to me. I didn't make it back in time to show him the gold medal. When I arrived, he was already lying in the coffin. I put down my bag, took the medal, held it in his hand, and then left the room. I've never heard him say, "I love you," or anything like that. Yes, I knew he did, but I wanted him to say it. I wanted some kind of affection. Nevertheless, I really love him and always will.
It's my room, you know?
The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
What the ancients called a clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels in winning with ease.
Usyk's performances in the Olympics caught the attention of the Klitschko brothers, who signed him to their boxing promotion, K2 Boxing. In just 5 years as a professional, Usyk became the undisputed Cruiserweight champion.
Superstar. Superstar. No. Superstar.
Tell him stars go out and I am not a star.
A year later, Usyk would make the switch to the heavyweight division. After relinquishing his cruiserweight titles, he had a new goal of becoming heavyweight champion of the world.
But people doubted Usyk. They couldn't believe that a man that only weighed 91 kilograms could compete with Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. His first heavyweight fight was against Chaz Witherspoon. It wasn't his best performance, but he got the job done. Next came Derek Chisora. Again, not the most convincing performance, but he won. Doubts grew. Could Usyk really hang with the best? Or could he actually be beaten?
If you know the enemy and know yourself, your victory will not stand in doubt. If you know heaven and know earth, you may make your victory complete.
I started boxing when I was 15 years old. Over the years, I've heard all kinds of opinions, some from people I know well, others from strangers I've only met once. They told me I shouldn't box, that I'd never become an Olympic or world champion, that switching to the heavyweight division was a mistake. But those were just words from people who couldn't do it themselves. Just because someone's bigger than me doesn't mean they're stronger, and having longer arms doesn't automatically give them an advantage.
Can Joshua be beaten?
Kim?
By you, by Usyk?
As the saying goes, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Russians, what are you doing in our home country?
Я зразу почав думати, як мені повернутися, тому що в Україну літаки не літають. І одна машина їхала в Київ. Це наша машина. То я сутки добирався. Знаєте, я насамперед, коли вийшов там з машини, ми там лазили йшли там по окопам, і я про що подумав? Я почав, так, нюхати, що відбувається. Там смертю пахне.
Про бокс на той момент я навіть не то, що не думав. В мене навіть ніякої думки про бокс не було. Навіть була думка така, щоб звільнити пояси, щоб там далі хлопці там заїхали.
At that time, Usyk was not the unified world champion in heavyweight boxing. He was just a normal citizen of Ukraine, a man who was defending his country, his house, his family. That's what he did. And once he visited the hospital with the guys who had no arm, no leg, they were saying like, Usyk, no.
Олександр, про що ти думаєш? Чому ти не їдеш тренуватися? В тебе реванш, ми чекаємо поєдинка, нам потрібна перемога. І це було в кожній палаті, в яку я заходив.
We don't want to see you in the battlefield. We want to watch you on a TV where you represent Ukraine, where we hear the Ukrainian anthem, and where you bringing the victory for Ukraine.
You said there about Muhammad Ali being one of your idols because of the fact that he was a good guy and liked to fight for his people. That's exactly what you have done with the Ukraine war.
Does this make you feel unbeatable? This passion, this feeling, this togetherness that you now have with your friends, with your people?
I think that character cannot be properly quantified or properly measured as a talent, but it is a talent.
For the first time in my life, all I wanted was to be home. Instead of focusing on my training camp or fighting, my mind was completely consumed by Ukraine, everything happening there, and everything it stands for. I just wanted to do whatever I could to help, to be useful for my country. The emotion, it's indescribable.
Hope is important. He's taking a torch to a dark place and showing us there's a possibility we could be better.
Я не знав, куди я доберуся, але я знав, що мені треба працювати.
He really does fight with honor. He feels like an old-fashioned martial artist, and I think that really goes back to the morals that his dad's instilled in him.
Він коли приходить за день до поєдинку і посміхається.
He helped rebuild what has been lost, not in concrete, not in steel, but just spiritually. Even if it's for one night, even if it's for one freaking night.
The shot that is, Fury's wobbling, Usyk's caught it, Fury's in all kinds of trouble. Is that the game changer? Usyk can sense the finish. Tyson Fury senses scramble. Usyk charging in for a finish. Fury doesn't know where he is. He's all over the ring. Down he goes, does he know?
Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world from Ukraine, Oleksandr Usyk.
He's done it.
I miss my father. I say my father, hey, listen, you live that, I live here. Please, I love you.